Yeah.
But there are some other big names available.
Oh, no, definitely
Like
are,
Marlon
man.
Mack's one of them. And we had this set up for the topic.
Yeah.
Who should we be looking at as backup running back? Because there is still some names out there.
I mean, you got Melvin Gordon. He's available. I like him. What's the cat from Chicago?
Tariq Cohen.
Yeah, he's still available. There's a couple other names I'm thinking
I'll
about.
list them off.
Yeah.
David Johnson, Jalen Richard, Philip Lindsay, Devontae Booker, Sony Michel, Carlos Hyde. We already mentioned Marlon Mack. Malcolm Brown, Darrell Williams. I don't know which Williams this was. I have no clue because there were two Darrell Williams. One of them won a Super. One of them did awesome in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Another, I think they cut him and then they brought in another Darrell Williams. I think it's the second one.
Yeah.
Giovanni Bernard, Dwayne Washington, Latavius Murray, Devonta Freeman. Oh wow, that's a name. Peyton Barber, Jerick McKinnon, Alex Collins, Kalen Ballage, our buddy Kalen Ballage out there. Le'Veon Bell.
And you just gonna leave off the most important name of all?
Who?
Adrian Peterson.
Come
on, man. You've been hollering about AP. Come on now, don't you forget him now. If you gonna throw L Bell, I thought L Bell was trying to box up my man Paul. He was trying. I thought he was still on that kick.
Is Bell's NFL career over?
Strong possibility. Maybe not. Probably though. I don't like how it's looking right now. Yeah.
That's a shame.
What could have been?
Yeah.
But he got paid though. That's all that matters for him, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
it works.
Him and Brown, man. And him and AB.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Sony
I think
Michel,
I'm at the
man.
point right now. See, I'd still bring AB back.
Okay.
I think I'm at the point I'm good on Bell.
Okay.
That had its last run last year for me of bringing in Bell. I think I'm good.
Okay.
Some of these other names, I'd probably prefer. I think they'd be a better 1-2 combo with Najee.
So who you think about on this list? Because to me, a couple names to jump off: Melvin Gordon,
Yeah.
Sony Michel, Tariq Cohen, Giovanni Bernard. He's another one I think of. And honestly, Latavius Murray. Looking at what he did in Baltimore last year, I thought that was pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, he's not terrible.
Man, and we're talking about all these guys as a number two. Even Philip Lindsay as a number two. Like, I like this if we're talking about them as a number two. Not as starters. I don't want them as the guy. But if we're using them in concert to spell Najee, I think that all those guys bring in great value. No different than what they did in Tampa when it was Ronald Jones and Fournette. How those guys kind of helped each other out in a sense, man.
So, Marlon Mack, $2.5 million, same market value.
Bro, Marlon Mack for 2.5. Like, why haven't we signed him?
Melvin Gordon at 5. How do you feel about that? A little more proven.
A little more proven.
A little more healthy. Is 5 too much for him though? Because we were talking about
pay 5 for him.
Cordell Patterson got what 5?
5,
right?
Yeah.
He got a little over 5.
Yeah,
like
and I
5
like
and a half.
Cordell coming out right now.
Like, why
more
couldn't we
than
do
Melvin.
that?
Yeah. If I can get Melvin at 3.5, I would do that.
Would he be your top pick? You think?
Yeah, he's probably the most established.
Most established.
Because I like
Still
Sony
28.
Michel too, but Sony kind of disappeared last year. I don't know. You know, was it just because he got traded? I don't know what it was, but yeah. And you know, my like Melvin, I like him. I just don't love him, bro. And I know like some people like really.
Oh, I'm with you. I mean,
like,
he never's
he's
done
just
good
such a
against
weird
us,
guy
really.
To me, bro. Like, yeah.
And
you know, he got the
coming
ball
out of-
security stuff. Like, he's explosive, but he don't play always explosive. Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of his game, like across the board. I think he's a good player though. Don't get it twisted. I'm
agree.
not like talking bad on him. I just, when I think of him, maybe it was the expectations were too high. That could have been
he
it
was
too.
a beast in college.
Right, because my expectation for him, I thought he was going to come in and be like a dog, and it just never really lived up to that. He was still good, but it never went to that level where it was like, oh yeah, he's the man out there. Yeah.
His seasons were weird too because he would have a ton of touchdowns for a couple of them over in San Diego, but then his yards per carry was like 3.8, 3.9.
Yes.
But his overall numbers were good, like his rush yards and receiving yards. It's like, oh man, this guy got a lot of production, but his efficiency was down. It was just they gave him the ball so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like with him, it'd be cool to have him, but I do think like a Tariq Cohen or Giovanni Bernard, Philip Lindsay as like
They fit. They
a
complement
speed guy
so
to
well.
Najee, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be intriguing.
They would complement us really well in terms of what they do with Najee. I probably like Tariq the best out that bunch though.
Dude, what's weird with him?
Yeah.
I didn't really know his story these last couple of years. He had an ACL back in 2020 in week 3. He sat out all of last season from the same like knee injury. So like, I don't know what's going on with him.
maybe he ain't want to do the Devin Bush because we said that's why Devin played bad, right?
Maybe.
I mean, maybe he was like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't know. Yeah.
Got the Trubisky connection too. Could Trubisky give him the call?
Hey man, the Pittsburgh Bears. That's what we are. The Chicago Steelers.
Oh damn! No, they better not be calling us that out of Chicago. Hell no.
That's Chicago East.
No, they better not be doing that. They better not be doing that.
What about Carlos though? Carlos is another interesting name though.
Hyde.
Yeah.
A little old.
Yeah. But he got to be in that same age group as Giovanni, right?
Yeah.
They same time frame.
Yeah, over 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Giovanni's 30.
And they're
Carlos
all
Hyde's 31.
And they're all just in a backup role. Like we're not asking them to come in and be starters. Just come help us out. Do your job.
Hell, I mentioned Kalen Balaj. I wouldn't mind even bringing him back. I really wouldn't.
No.
We just didn't give him the ball. But I feel like if you sign one of these guys, although with Tomlin, you sign LeGarrette Blount, and there's not the best track record that you're going to give the RB2, whoever you sign, a significant role.
No. That scenario was definitely different.
Because D'Angelo, he didn't really have a role
but
outside of when Le'Veon Bell got hurt.
But let me explain to you.
All right.
It was different because when we signed LeGarrette, that's when I signed here as well. L. Bell was not L. Bell then. L. Bell had a nice rookie season, but he was coming off the foot injury, and he was still going through the body transformation. And it just so happened that all season when LeGarrette got in there, all OTAs and training camp, it was a 1-2 punch. It was both of those guys getting the fair share. And it just so happened that L. Bell, when he got to the season, the whole body transformation, he took off and became this elite tier running back, and it was happening before our eyes. But that wasn't what the expectation was. When we came here, we didn't look at L. Bell as like, oh, man, this is going to be the guy. It was like, oh, okay, he looks different. Even my perspective, because I remember playing against him the year before. I'm like, L. Bell was good, but we didn't think he was going to be like what he was that year. And that, to me, was why LeGarrette kind of got upset, because the expectation all offseason, the expectation in terms of when he signed here was one thing, but it just so happened that L. Bell took off. And then when you talk about D'Angelo coming that following year, D'Angelo was in a situation where he was trying to get on. He was trying to, continue his career. And Coach T talked to him, basically said, man, you lose your way, you could be the backup here. And it worked out because L. Bell obviously was going through some injuries and stuff like that. He had the suspension as well. D'Angelo had those opportunities. But D'Angelo still was confident who he was. He wasn't trying to prove anything. He was already established. LeGarrette was still trying to prove that he could be that guy or continue on being that guy outside of New England. Whereas now it's already clear Najee is the bona fide guy. Najee first year versus L. Bell first year, to me, are night and day. Because L. Bell, even though he played well his rookie year, it was not to the extent of what Najee did. And that was why when they brought in LeGarrette, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, LeGarrette going to get some touches. He really going to be involved here. Coming into this situation with Najee, you're not taking those reps from him. Najee's the guy. He's already proven that, running the ball and catching the ball. So that's why, for me, I just think that it would be different. Whoever you bring in, they would already know that, look, this is clearly defined. Najee is the guy. There isn't a competition. There's not going to be a 50-50 split. It's not even going to be 60-40 split because Najee's already proven that. Whereas with L. Bell at that time, even though he was a good player, he hadn't proved that he was going to be doing it to that extent. It just so happened that, like I said, it worked out like that where he changed the body up and boom, it took off for him.
So maybe that's why we're not that eager to sign any of these guys right now. Because we view Najee as that. It's like, all right, we could have anyone as the backup. They're just going to get like 5 or 6 carries.
Because think about once L. Bell crossed over to that vein, we weren't ever worried about who was the backup running back. Even when it was D'Angelo, and then when it wasn't D'Angelo, it was like, we don't care. We got L. Bell. We know exactly what he is. Then you bring in James Conner in the 3rd round. So it was like, all right, cool. We got the feel-good story, the Pitt player. Everything made sense, but it was like, we got L. Bell. Anything else is icing on the cake. And that's how I think we're viewing this situation with Najee. It's like whoever they bring in is just extra. But we've already seen Najee be a 400-plus touch guy. So I don't think that, like I said, those are going to be the same in that vein.